Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another unboxing and review, and today from Hasbro in their Star Wars Black Series line, we are featuring Ned-B from Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. Alright, so this is an action figure that I'm pretty excited to check out because, for one, it looks like the Spartan armor from Halo, and I can't wait to compare it next to Master Chief. When Ned-B first appeared in Obi-Wan, I remember vividly when they first featured him for the first time. I think it was it might have been like a long shot, and he was kind of far off in the distance. And then I kind of saw this big hulking figure, and I'm like, oh my god, that looks like Master Chief. And then when they kind of zoomed in, I was even more surprised about how much he resembled like the Spartans from the Halo universe. So I'm really excited to check this guy out, and I kind of want to do a side-by-side comparison next to Master Chief. It's a great looking figure. As you can see, it's packaged in the larger deluxe box. Has wonderful character illustration on the side, and on the spine you have an image of the figure, and it's kind of neat too. They give you the actual size of the figure. It's 6.6 inches or 16.8 centimeters. Plastic-free packaging. I guess that's a big selling point nowadays. On the back, nice fig photography, and you have a little short description of the Obi-Wan universe. They don't really go into detail about the character, which is kind of surprising. Alright, let's get started. So for one, I really miss the old style of packaging. For the most part, I'm a mint in box collector, and I do like to showcase my figures in the package. If I can, I'll probably display it on my wall hanging. But nowadays with everyone trying to stay away from using excess plastic, which makes sense. Companies are more environmentally conscious. I just missed the window displays. I think they're pretty cool. So here's what you're getting in the box. It almost looks like he's being readied for, I don't know, burial at some sort of weird funeral. The tissue paper, if you can see it, has the faint Star Wars logo printed on it. And let's take this guy out. Wow, it's a pretty cool figure. I'm digging this a lot. I didn't really know what to expect, and I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. It's a really unique looking character. I'd love to see what another company like maybe SH Figure Arts would do with a guy like this. Alright, so over here, in this paper baggie, it's actually divided into 3 sections, and each compartment looks like it holds an accessory. We have the clone droid blaster, which is a throwback to the prequels. We have a power hammer. And we have his power supply backpack. The one thing I like about this guy is that his aesthetic really sells the fact that he's kind of like a I think more like a maintenance construction droid kind of deal, especially with the yellow. You know, I kind of imagine maybe in the future, like at your local Ace Hardware or Home Depot, maybe they'd have like construction droids, and he'd probably resemble something like this. You know, maybe he was made by Craftsman. I think Craftsman's out of business though. Milwaukee or Steel. You know, one of those hardware manufacturing companies. It's interesting too, because as I'm handling him, I'm kind of noticing that all these joints, they're kind of like, almost like weirdly independent of one another. Like if you look at the knee joint here, it can swivel, but then it also has like a swivel at the boot. And I think same with the ankle also. So very interesting articulation scheme on this guy. It really sells the fact that he's a robot, which I think is nice. He's a nice shade of kind of like a yellow orange. As you can see, he doesn't white balance that well. So that's why I kind of need a sheet of white paper just to bring his colors into balance. I like the asymmetry with the blue forearm. The weathering on this guy is really nice. As you can see, he kind of has like some semblance of battle damage and weathering. It's pretty cool. Accessory wise, let's take a look at what he comes with. All right, first off is the power hammer. Nice clean details. The head of the hammer has some like indents, so it looks a little bit more realistic. Has a metal finish to it also, which looks nice. I like the detail with kind of like the spring there. It's almost like an impact hammer, and the spring kind of like absorbs the aftershock. It almost looks like a baseball bat handle towards the bottom. His power supply, here's the backpack. This looks like something that can exist in the real world. You know, it looks like something that's not too far-fetched that you might see like at your Home Depot or Ace Hardware. I love the contrast between the yellow and the blue. It's nice. And let's get this assembled. Alright, so one thing I'm noticing also is that, so on the back of the power supply, there's two sockets right there and right there. And if you notice on his back, he has these two hoses, and you just plug them in on each side. So let's do this. Get the backpack on. Alright, so you plug the backpack in, and then you take the hoses and plug them into the back. Yeah, this looks awesome. This is really cool. I would love to see a variation on this guy. Like, I'm sure there's probably customizers out there, but it'd be cool to see like a much more combat dedicated version of this droid. You know, maybe deck him out like in a camo scheme, or maybe like darker colors like gunmetal gray, or like kind of like a steel finish. All right, so let's look at his sculpt a little bit more closely. Here's a profile. Looks really cool. I kind of like how his posturing, he's kind of like a little bit hunched over. Again, very impressed with the detailing, with the weathering and the battle damage. It's a very simplified robot design. I like that. You know, it's kind of like, it's not too much. You know, it's not like he has so much like scribing or panel lines or exposed wiring and whatnot. It's a very functional looking utilitarian design. I really like that blue forearm also. Really nice. And also due to the color of him too, it seems like it's kind of hard for my camera to like autofocus on him. His shade of yellow, it's not too bright, but I have a feeling that with the light coming off of it, it's just, you know, hard for my camera to focus on him. Especially since he's just covered with smooth contours. It's not like he has a lot of hard edges on him. But yeah, very impressed. Nice sculpt. As for his height, Ned stands in at about 6 3/4. He seems like he's a little bit taller than the 6.6 inches that they listed on the box. Now, in terms of his articulation scheme, his head rotates left and right. Head looks down about there. Doesn't really want to look up. Arms rotate. They go out. Surprisingly, it's a nice way of articulating. If you look here, it's almost like a McFarlane figure with the ball-socketed butterfly joint, like there. But it's even cooler that when you raise his arm outward, you kind of get more of that exposed, kind of like cybernetic joint right there, which looks really cool. So that looks neat. There is no bicep swivel, which is okay because there is a swivel at the elbow. And again, it's nice that the joint, it's kind of like independent from the limbs. So you get the swivel here, but then you also get the swivel there. And then you get the bend. Articulated wrists, they rotate and they even fold inward like that. He has 4 large digits on each hand. He does have a torso cut, so you can swivel there. Does not swivel at the waist though. He ab crunches about that far. Doesn't really want to arch back. Legs could kick up about there. And do they kick outward? Not so much because the armor on the thighs colliding with the hip. Legs bend, single jointed knee, which is all right. You know, it'd be nice if you get more range of motion, but for what it is, I think it's all right. And same with the ankle. There is no toe articulation, which is surprising because the design of the foot, if you look at it, there's actually a joint. The impression of a joint is right there, but they don't articulate it, which is unfortunate. But then again, it's understandable. You know, it'd probably increase the price of the figure. Let's take a look at him with his hammer. There's his hammer. And again, this guy does not want to focus. And let's take a look at him with the droid blaster. I think it fits better on the other hand, actually. It's kind of weird because due to the design of the droid blaster, as you can see, the trigger guard, it kind of extends so far. And his hands are kind of almost a little bit too thick to hold them. This guy does not want to focus. Right there. I mean, it'll hold the blaster, but trying to find like that sweet spot is going to be an issue. You know, so it kind of looks weird. You can't really hold the blaster straight on properly. So that's kind of unfortunate. Like I mentioned, I wanted to compare him next to Master Chief. And here we have Jazzwares' Halo Master Chief figure. Much taller. He's a lot taller than I thought. And so if I remember correctly, the Spartan collection is a 6-inch scale action figure. And the Spartans in the world of Halo stand in about 7 feet tall. So I'm not sure if this guy's... I don't remember the height in the Obi-Wan show. But as you can tell, I mean, it almost looks like... This almost looks like a basic design or a precursor to the Spartan in Halo. You know, there's some... I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the silhouette of the figure, but there's just something about this that this kind of feels like it was designed, you know, with Halo in mind. But I like this a lot. This looks really cool. You know, if you could do some sort of weird head swap, you know, you could easily convert this into something that looks like it belongs in the world of Halo. Yeah, so I dig this guy a lot. I'm a big fan of Halo, you know, and I've always just loved Master Chief's design, especially the way it's evolved over the course of all those games. You know, dating back to Halo 1 on the original Xbox. And there's something about this that it feels like a throwback to that design also. But it's awesome. Great looking figure. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give Ned-B probably an 8.5 to a 9. It's not perfect, but for what it is, I think it's very impressive. I would love to see, it's like I said, I'd love to see what other companies could do with this character. Like, I'd love to see a figure arts version of this. You know, there's something about this that feels very Master Chief, very Spartan, and in some ways even kind of like, it even reminds me of RoboCop in some aspects also. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.